The loudest person in the room is rarely the most powerful. Society conditions us to believe whoever commands the most airtime commands the most respect. But watch what happens in an average social setting. This is what most people never notice. The vast majority treat conversation strictly as a mechanism to extract external validation. When a pause hits the conversation, their nervous energy takes over. They rush to fill the void, oversharing personal details and bleeding information simply because they cannot tolerate the quiet. This relentless stream of words doesn't project confidence. It signals to everyone watching that you are being driven by the room's energy rather than your own. This dynamic occurs because of a phenomenon known as the social vacuum. It is the immediate psychological space that opens up the exact second a conversation pauses. Biologically, the average person is wired to perceive this vacuum as a threat. This sudden lack of auditory feedback triggers a mild panic response, compelling them to throw filler words into the gap just to feel safe again. Then there is the rare, silent observer. They feel the vacuum open, and they deliberately choose not to intervene. They simply let the silence hang. Watch how this resolves. The moment one person stabilizes and anchors themselves in the silence, the chaotic space between them is forced to freeze. Mastering the internal discomfort of that vacuum is the primary dividing line between those who are controlled by the room and those who control it. And this is where silent people gain control. Actively choosing to withhold speech triggers a highly predictable set of neurological and social reactions in everyone else. This diagram shows a central node, representing the silent individual, and how others project their focus inward. By withholding information, you create mystery. Because people cannot read your exact position, their brains fill in the blanks, forcing them to project authority onto you. The second mechanism is emotional control. Notice how a rigid boundary line forms around the center, deflecting the incoming noise. Reacting instantly is a biological reflex. Pausing overrides that reflex, physically demonstrating your internal state is entirely insulated. The third mechanism is trust arbitration. Watch how the center node pulses with a slow, rhythmic wave, eventually forcing the erratic surrounding nodes to sync to its pace. People trust calm energy more than loud energy. Operating with such restraint signals a level of emotional discipline that spoken words rarely achieve. To see this law of social gravity in action, look at any high-stakes environment, a boardroom or a tense financial negotiation. The confident leader in this setting deploys silence as a strategic weapon. They sit perfectly still, watching calmly, while the rest of the table leans in, gestures frantically, and expends their energy trying to win favor. There is always a precise moment when the insecure party cracks under the pressure. Unable to bear the dead air, they start speaking again, often negotiating against their own position, just to keep the conversation alive. By doing absolutely nothing, the silent person creates a gravitational pull. They force the entire room to orient around their own calm baseline. Building this presence requires adopting a luxury mindset. The core of this framework is straightforward. Powerful people don't rush to prove themselves. This graphic illustrates the first two steps of the protocol. Step 1. Artificially slow your rate of speech. Step 2. End your sentences with a sharp, clean period. You must cut off the sprawling habit of trailing into nervous justifications. State your point and stop. Step 3 is the mechanics of eye contact. Maintain steady, controlled eye contact that operates completely independent of the frantic pace of the room. Step 4 involves active internal training. You must intentionally sit in awkward silences until your nervous system stops treating quiet moments as a physical threat. Step 5 is the rule of value multiplication. You speak only when your words act as a strict multiplier to the room's overall value. If you are about to speak merely as filler, remain silent. Executing this 5-step protocol strips away reactionary habits. It takes you from being a nervous participant in the social dynamic and installs you as its architect. Ultimately, insecurities are inherently loud. True confidence is profoundly quiet. Subscribe to PsyPeak if you want powerful psychology and mindset content, because the ultimate social luxury is having the power and the absolute internal discipline to simply sit back